My name is Judy, and I'm 33 years old. I don't really have a big family, so witnessing such a large event was definitely one of the perks of marrying my husband, Kyle. The music was blasting, and the air was filled with the laughter and chatter of my husband's family. This was the first time that I had ever been at a function like this. Kyle, unlike me, came from a very big family. They were celebrating a family reunion in a big way with at least 100 people in attendance. It was an opportunity for us to meet distant relatives and enjoy good food. But, as fate would have it, the day turned out to be a nightmare for me. Although this outing was meant to be one filled with joy and celebration, it turned sour when I came in contact with my evil and rude mother-in-law. You see, she made it her life mission to disrespect and belittle me, especially because she was under the impression that I was unable to conceive. But she couldn't be more wrong. I just couldn't tell her the truth, at least not yet. You see, my journey to motherhood has been far from easy. It's a road riddled with medical appointments, emotional roller coasters, and dashed hopes. But what made it even more excruciating was having Hannah, a woman who should be a pillar of support, constantly prodding and mocking my inability to conceive. She approached me at the function and said this: "Judy, my dear, you're still not pregnant. You should really get a move on, you know. You're not getting any younger. Oh, wait, you're infertile. What a shame. I really wish that my son married someone who could at the very least conceive a baby." I was taken aback by her words. How could someone be so blatantly rude and malicious? I could feel the blood rushing to my face. Not believing that I heard her correctly, I simply had to ask her to repeat herself. "What did you say?" "You didn't hear me? Must be all this loud music. Hold on for 1 second." As if I wasn't already sufficiently embarrassed by my situation, this woman did the unthinkable. Because this was such a large event, Hannah walked over to the DJ and requested to use his mic. "Attention, attention everyone." Everyone started to pay attention to what she was saying, and I had a deep, dreading feeling of what was coming next. "Some of you might know Judy, Kyle's wife. I wasn't going to do this, but I thought that this would be a great teachable moment for not only her, but for everyone who is here at this event. We're all family, right?" Noticing that this had "bad news" written all over it, my husband Kyle, who was somewhere off in the distance, started making his way to the DJ booth. He knew his mother all too well and knew that she wasn't going to say anything positive about me. Unluckily, though, he was way too far to reach her on time. "If you turn your attention towards Judy, you'll see that she's not pregnant or carrying an infant. This is honestly shocking, considering she's been married to Kyle for 5 years now. Anyhow, it's not her fault, I guess. She is infertile, after all." "Mom, that's enough!" Although Kyle screamed this out, his unamplified voice was no match for the big and booming microphone his mother was using, so she continued. "Don't worry, Kyle. This is a teachable moment. Judy, I know the truth is hard to hear, but you have to hear it anyways. You are infertile. And as a result of that, you're wasting everyone's time here. We're all not getting any younger, and I want to see my grandchildren. I think it would be best if you two did something like get a surrogate or a divorce." There I was, my face redder than any of the tomato dishes that were there, and with myriads of eyes looking my way. "I'm serious, Judy. You should honestly consider doing something about that infertility. It's quite selfish and embarrassing. I said I want to see my grandchild." Thankfully, she was cut off by Kyle, who finally got to her. I, for one, couldn't move at all. It was like I was frozen. It seemed like 100 pairs of eyes were looking at me all at once, and I just wanted the earth to open up and swallow me whole. I felt humiliated as everyone was looking at me. Although Kyle stopped her, the damage was already done. Some people looked at me with a disgusted face. Others shared a look of sympathy, but honestly, a lot of people just seemed to share my embarrassment. They were embarrassed for me, and as someone who doesn't like being pitied, this was the worst feeling to encounter. I felt helpless. I'm normally the type of girl who speaks her mind, but how could I with all these people looking at me? The DJ tried to resume the festivities and wash over the embarrassing moment, but as I mentioned, the damage had already been done. Some people began to resume what they were doing before, but I just knew that people were gossiping about the situation and that this would be a hot topic in the family group chat for weeks to come. I did what many other people would have done in this situation. I fled. I felt so unwelcome and so unloved. As I saw Kyle and Hannah talking, more so arguing, off to the side, I made my escape. I ran inside the house to find the nearest bathroom to lock myself in. I cried and cried for what felt like hours, and then I got a knock on the door. It was none other than my loving husband, Kyle. What he said when he saw my red eyes and puffy cheeks shocked me. I swear to God, after today, I'm never speaking to that woman again. Kyle, you can't say that. She's your mother. Yeah, and she's also a bully. I can't ever show my face here ever again. We can go home right now if you want to. Say the word and we're out of here. No, that will mean I've admitted defeat. What did you say to her? Kyle went on to tell me how he berated her for her insolence and her rudeness. Why would she say something like that? We don't even know half of the people who are here. I still can't believe she said that. I know, love. I've let her walk over you for too long. I'm sorry I let it get to this point. We hugged and I continued crying in his arms. This is why I love this man so much. After being conditioned in my childhood for so long that I needed to be strong and wipe away those tears, Kyle was always here to catch them and console me. I pulled away from him slightly, looking up at the love of my life. His warm brown eyes met mine, and I was struck once again by how much I loved this man. I smiled weakly despite my tears. Hoping to distract myself from the humiliation, I asked, "Do you remember how we met?" Kyle chuckled. "Of course I do. How could I forget such a beautiful day?" I laughed too, remembering that fateful day we were both studying at the library of our university and ended up fighting over the last available power outlet. We struck up a deep and meaningful conversation, and before we knew it, hours had passed. We exchanged numbers, and the rest, as they say, is history. I love you so much, Kyle. I love you too, Judy, more than anything in this world, and if you need us to go home, then please let me know. This party's dead anyways, after that stupid stunt my mother pulled. Kyle, do you remember when we found out? He nodded, a pained expression crossing his face. We were trying so hard, and I thought that maybe I was the infertile one, but finding out that it was you who was infertile was somehow even worse for me. I was ready to handle it if it was me, but you're just so perfect. I never expected it to be you. I never wanted that for you. I'm so sorry. I know, babe. It was a tough time for both of us. But we got through it together, and we'll get through this too. Kyle smiled at me, his love for me shining in his eyes. I knew then that we were in this together, no matter what life threw at us. You should tell her the truth. What? I couldn't possibly do that. I should have just been honest with the family about everything. I didn't know she harbored this much resentment for us not having kids yet. And what's worse, she automatically assumes it's your fault. If I was just honest from the beginning, then none of this would have happened. Kyle, don't beat yourself up. Even you know your mother is crazy. She probably would have found another way to humiliate me even if you did do that. It's fine, babe. I don't mind her hating me, but I can't stand the idea of her not liking you because of your infertility. You know her obsession with continuing this bloodline. That's true. I mean, she did invite 100 people to this thing, which is ridiculous now that I think about it. So, no, I'm not going to do that. Wait here. Before I could even question where he was going, he let go of me and left the bathroom. I was still reeling from the embarrassment I was feeling, so I opted to heed his words and stay in the bathroom. 5 minutes had gone by, and just when I thought that Kyle had done something stupid like renounce the family name or expose himself to the family, he came back in. Thank goodness, I thought you went to do something stupid. I was about to burst out of here and stop you. You still might try and stop me, but I won't let you. What do you mean? What did you do? I couldn't believe my eyes when Kyle handed me the stack of papers. What are these? My infertility results, as well as your high fertility results. I printed them out in the library. I felt my stomach drop. How could he have done this without even telling me? And now he wanted me to show them to Hannah? I couldn't do that. I couldn't just humiliate him like that in front of everyone. I can't do that, Kyle. I told you I wouldn't do it. I can't just show these to her. But Judy, she humiliated you in front of everyone. She deserves to be put in her place. She'll be embarrassed because of how wrong she was. I know, but I just can't do it. It's not fair to you. I don't care about that. She's the one who's going to be embarrassed. Being infertile is nothing to be embarrassed about, even though it's so heavily frowned upon. There are ways to fix it, babe, and I think I'm ready to face these skeletons head on. I think we should look at alternative methods of conceiving. I looked up at him, feeling overwhelmed by his love and selflessness. How could he be so willing to sacrifice himself like this? And what's more, it seemed like he was ready to properly face this ailment and take the necessary steps in fixing his situation. For such a long time it was a sore subject, but now, as I looked into his loving eyes, I could see the amount of healing and growth that he's been through to be at this exact moment of clarity and compassion. But Kyle, it's not just about that. It's also about the fact that she's never respected me. She's never even tried to get to know me, and now she's just making fun of my infertility like it's some kind of joke. Kyle put his arm around me, pulling me closer. I know, Judy, and that's why we have to do this. We have to stand up to her and show her that we won't be pushed around anymore. I looked up at him, feeling grateful for his strength and support. Okay, let's do it. We went outside to greet the crowd. The good thing is, it seemed like everyone resumed the festivities, but little did they know that more chaos was about to ensue. I gave Kyle the "Are you sure?" look one last time, and he confirmed his answer by leading me to the very same DJ booth that I was embarrassed at not so long ago. Kyle grabbed the mic and got everyone's attention. Attention, everyone, we have something important to say. People, for the second time during this event, whipped their heads in the direction of the booming voice coming through the microphone. Earlier today, my wife was attacked unfairly and quite rudely for no good reason. And now she wants to give her side of the argument. Kyle handed the mic to me. I gulped as I recognized that everyone had their attention on me now. I scanned the crowd and I was met by one pair of glaring eyes. It was none other than Hannah, looking at me with absolute disgust and disdain. As I was speaking, she was making her way to the booth. Hello, everyone. As you may or may not know, I'm Kyle's wife, and Hannah is my mother-in-law. I need to repeat the harmful words that were, "That's enough." I didn't realize that Hannah was already nearing the booth. Instead of my fear increasing, however, ironically enough, it was my confidence and my anger that was being amplified, and I proceeded. I was sick of her incessant rudeness stagnating my growth and self-worth. Kyle was right. I needed to put her in her place. You will not interrupt me while I speak. I gave you your chance to speak, and now it's my turn. Shocked and taken off guard by my feistiness, she shut up. Thank you. As I was saying, I need not repeat what was said about me, but I am a lover of truth, and I thought that if someone is spreading misinformation about me and my family, even if it's a very personal and private matter, I need to rectify the information that is being presented. Turning to face Hannah squarely, I now said, "You think that I'm infertile and that I'm unable to conceive a baby? Well, I'll tell you what the real truth is. It's your son. Kyle is the infertile one. These are the documents that prove that." Kyle handed over the documents to Hannah, who was very shocked. The crowd was also murmuring and gasping all around. I looked at Kyle to make sure he was okay, and he was even smiling and chuckling at everyone's surprised expressions. But the expression that was the funniest was my mother-in-law's. Silence filled the area, and everyone's attention was drawn to us. Hannah's face turned pale, as if I had just slapped her. "What are you talking about? This can't be true." "Oh, but it is true, and what's more, I am the one who has a high fertility rate." More gasps and murmurs were reverberating through the crowd. This scene looked like it was pulled straight out of a movie. I don't even know what to say. Kyle, why didn't you tell me about this?" "Maybe because I wasn't ready. The topic of infertility can be a sensitive one, and I know that you wouldn't have done that to me if I was in that position. But the fact that you blatantly tried to embarrass my wife in front of everyone doesn't sit right with me. I had to set things straight." Kyle, I'm so sorry." "Don't say sorry to me. Apologize to Judy." It was as if Kyle had asked her to recite the King James Version of the Bible in Latin. She was so hesitant. But Kyle persisted. He even grabbed the mic from me and began to chant, "Apologize." He kept chanting it over and over, and slowly but surely the crowd followed suit, all demanding for Hannah to apologize to me for her evil words. Because she was too proud, even the pressure from a whole mob of family members couldn't sway her from her disdain for me. "I'll do no such thing. She doesn't deserve it. Even if I was incorrect about the fertility thing, why didn't she just say it? It's her fault for not clearing up the air earlier, and now she wants to embarrass me." People began to boo at her like she was a terrible music artist performing a terrible set. Feeling embarrassed on her property, she ran inside the house, attempting to escape the judgment that was being passed. The story doesn't end there, folks. We resumed the festivities while Hannah spent the rest of the event held up in her room. Several aunts and uncles made attempts at luring her out of her room, but to no avail. She was stuck in her pride, and it was leaving a sour taste in people's mouths. Nonetheless, we enjoyed the rest of the reunion with various family members, both known and extended, approaching Kyle and me and commending us on our bravery. Some people were glad we finally put that woman in her place, and others didn't know the extent of her maliciousness reached this far. We ended the evening being closer. It truly felt like a big old happy family reunion by the end, which I was so grateful for. After the family reunion fiasco, I was exhausted and drained. But the next day, we received a call from one of Kyle's aunts. She said that the family had a meeting and agreed that they wouldn't include Hannah in any future family events until she apologizes. They also recommended that we remain distant from her until she can grow up and take accountability. I agreed with the decision wholeheartedly. After all, I didn't want to be subjected to her cruel remarks again. I wasn't surprised by the decision, as I knew how stubborn and unapologetic Hannah could be. But it still stung to hear that our family was now officially divided due to Hannah's incessant hatred towards me. Kyle and I discussed the situation, and we both agreed that it was time to move on. We couldn't keep enabling Hannah's toxic behavior by being bystanders in her abuse, and we needed to protect our mental health. We were already going through so much, and especially since we wanted to start a new chapter in our lives and build a family of our own. It was time to say goodbye to the drama and focus on building a happy, healthy life together. So we said our goodbyes to Hannah without any regrets or second thoughts. We sent her an email detailing our feelings, and Kyle left her a long voice note telling her that he would love for her to be part of the new life that we're trying to build, but there was no way he was going to allow toxicity and negative energy to be part of it. Unsurprisingly, she never responded, and to this day we haven't gotten a response from her. Turns out she prioritizes her pride so much that she's willing to give up her relationship with her potential grandchildren. Good riddance to bad rubbish, as they say. We didn't need that kind of negativity in our lives anyways, and we were better off without her. But deep down, I couldn't help but feel a twinge of sadness, at least for Kyle. Hannah was still Kyle's mother, after all. I had hoped that we could be close one day, but it seemed like that would never happen. I don't know how Hannah is doing now, and I honestly don't care. But what I do know is that I'll never forget that day. And I'll never let anyone make me feel inferior again.